I just got the Wibbles on my Harley Davidson. Or is it Wobbles? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, I've just been out on the old heroic Harley once again this afternoon to go and get a few provisions for this evening. Anyway, just thought I'd go and have a little ride around, as you do. And as I was riding around, I started to feel, well, not wobbles, but what I would call wibbles. Now, I haven't turned into a bit of a Fruit Loop just like Rowan Atkinson and Blackadder. No, it's more that the bike wanted to, it felt a bit vague as I was riding along, especially going round a bend. And not necessarily having a wobble, but what I would say a wibble, a kind of a very small wobble, a very small uneasiness on the bike. So I was riding around and I thought, let me go and check these tyre pressures again, because a couple of weeks ago they were down, and a couple of weeks before that they were down as well, especially the rear one. So I thought, well, I'd top them up, but not by much. They hadn't gone down a lot, but just by a little. Anyway, popped into the local garage and they were down. The rear was down to 29 psi, which is down from 40, and the front was down to 31, 32 from 36. So there was a little bit on the front, but mostly on the rear. Now, you notice when you're riding along if your tyre pressures are not quite right, because if the front, it kind of acts a little bit differently to the rear. If the rear is down, you kind of sit down in the bike a little bit more and you kind of feel your tail shifting around a little bit, whereas the front is a little bit down, you feel your steering off a little bit as well. So for me, what I was feeling, my arse was low a little bit, my tail was a little bit vague, and it was kind of as if the front wheel was sat up on top of the tarmac a little bit. So that's kind of thinking, well, yeah, I've got the wibbles here, let me check my tyre pressures, and indeed they were down. I went riding a little bit around a little bit. I thought, let me just see, even after about 15 miles, if my tyre pressures were down, and indeed they were just down, maybe about 1 or 2 psi. Now obviously I think I've got either a problem around the rim, because these are tubeless tyres, or I can't see any nail or any obvious problem in either tyre. Now obviously I'm going to have a closer inspection and spray them all up and, you know, see if I can see any bubbles coming out from anywhere. I mean, I certainly can't hear anything, but this is something I've noticed over the last sort of couple of weeks. I can't detect a puncture, but the air is coming out of the tyre very, very slowly. Now, sometimes it comes out a little bit more, sometimes not. Now, the obvious thing, I know you're going to say, you've got a nail in your tyre. It's as simple as that. Maybe it isn't. I mean, these are tubeless tyres, and I'll tell you what, I'm surprised at also how rigid they are, especially the rear tyre. I'm running Avon Cobra Chromos, of course. Whether I'll be able to get these in the future, who knows. But they are quite rigid. Now, you know, I don't want to get all tyre spec on you, but tubeless tyres are generally less rigid than tubed tyres, but they make a tighter seal on the rims. They actually make an airtight seal on the rim, so that's why you don't need tubes. They're usually made of lighter weight material as well. They're more efficient, they're better for fuel consumption, all that kind of stuff, but they are prone to punctures as well. I wouldn't be surprised if I've got a very thin nail in there, or a thorn or something like that that's actually gone through, it's poking through, and it's just letting out a little bit of air every now and again. But say I'll inspect that, but I'm surprised at how rigid the tyres are. It's not as if I'm running flat. I mean, one time I hadn't checked the tyres, you know, shame on me, hadn't checked the tyre pressures for it. I went out and I thought, crikey, what's the tyre pressure on it? And it was down to bloody about 12 psi or something. I thought, crikey, what the hell's going on? And I was feeling it really vague then as well. Again, this is, you know, telltale sign, right? And I'm bringing this to you because, you know, whilst you know, we all like to say, check your tyres, and you do. And sometimes it depends. If you've got a slow leak, that it might be undetectable for a long time. But all of a sudden, if it suddenly becomes in quite a fast leak, then all of a sudden you could drop a lot of PSI in a short period of time. You could check your tyres at the start of the journey, and halfway through the journey, all of a sudden, because of temperature variation and maybe some shifting on the tyre as well, movement on the tyre, or movement on the rim, I should say, of the tyre, you know, you get that kind of flexing, you know, you could lose a bit of pressure there as well. So yeah, I got the wibbles. It's yeah, a little bit disconcerting really. I mean, I suppose the best way to describe a wibble is where you can feel the tyres flexing as you're rolling along, as opposed to, you know, riding over some kind of uneven road surface where your road tyres can start tracking where you don't want them to. This is more like there's flexing in the tyre, especially when in a bend, and you kind of feel something there a little bit, but it's not something that makes you go whoop. You know, it's not that severe, so less of a wobble and more of a wibble, I would say. But anyway, listen, I'm gonna obviously keep on top of this, so I'm gonna go and check the tires for a proper leak now with my old spray gun and a bit of fairy liquid, or I should say washing detergent, really. You know, no plugs here for any products, that's for sure. But anyway, listen, yeah, I had a bit of a wibble, then I checked the tires, pumped them up, check them again with my inflator, and yeah, it seemed absolutely fine, just a little bit down. So I'll check them again in the morning before I go off again, and see if how much they degrade overnight. But yeah, wibbles and wobbles, tyre pressures, check them on a regular basis, and check them again. Once you've checked them twice, probably worth checking them again. But there we go. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for future videos, and I will catch you again. Another video coming very soon. Ta-da now. Right, where to stick this pencil? Wibble.